All right, so I thought I would talk about color mixing before we go into our final painting. And this is a demo I did on my Facebook, The Painter's Journey Creative Community. It's a public group that you can join, and I think I just ask you a couple of questions. And once you are approved, and we'd love to have you, you can see all of the videos that I post there. So I do have a demo of this that I painted. I think I did it live. I must have. And so I thought I'd mention this here and maybe go into this, what I did here with this and all this fun stuff. So the idea behind this lesson was that it's a split complementary, and you're limiting your colors to just 3 colors: ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow, and here I used a quinacridone rose, which is, you know, like magenta, but there's a little bit of white added to it. So any cool red that when you add white to it, it would go pink. So in this case, I wound up deciding I needed to go darker, so we're gonna use alizarin crimson. And from these 3 colors, you can get all of this. You're gonna get yellow oranges, yellow greens, and violets are going to go from blue violet to red violet. And so that's what we want to be able to get all of these colors. And you can even make the brown for the seed by mixing more, kind of mixing an orange and then adding just a little bit of violet will turn it to this brownish color. And then later on I added just a tiny bit more quinacridone violet right here just to make that pop a little bit more. So so there's that. Here's one where I just really got loose and had fun. I think I may have also added a yellow orange and phthalo green and maybe even like a cobalt blue, or a if not cobalt blue, I may have added phthalo blue. I think that's what that was. So, you know, don't feel like you have to only stick to these, but that is the point of the lesson. I would say do yourself a couple of studies of this. You know, have fun with it. This is such a fun subject matter. So anyway, let me talk about how to mix some of these colors real quick. You want to be able to get a couple of different values of these yellow greens that you see here. Here's my photo. So first you're going to just basically mix up, I guess what I want you to notice, let me get another plate, is the cool and the warm temperatures of the yellow. You know, it's a yellow green, but there's also some warm areas to it. So and hopefully you're going to paint this from life, but right over here, I can actually see like some orange in there. Over here, I see it too. And even in here, it's a little warmer. So just look at the temperature difference. This looks more yellow, like with white added and maybe a tiny bit of green. But over here, it looks like there's a tiny bit of magenta added. And that's what I want you to start seeing. I want you to start seeing color. And anytime you are mixing color, you can always mix it up and pick it up in your brush and hold it over your subject. Hold your loaded brush literally over your piece of avocado or your photo of your avocado to judge the color. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's say I want to get that base, you know, this main color right here. So I'm starting with cad yellow, light, and white. And that is just too cool. It does not look like that. So let me hold this up over. And it looks too, it's close, but it's a little bit muted from that. I mean, I could use that in there, but it's not quite right. You want it just a little warmer. So I think I'm going to actually use just a little bit of my yellow orange mixed in there, and that helps a lot. I actually have some yellow orange right here. So I mixed a little bit of that in there, and that looks much, much better. So that would be one value, right? Now, if I want to just push the envelope a little bit, get it a little bit warmer, add a little bit more of that. Let's put that on here next to it. And then if I want to start getting it greener, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of my phthalo green. And look at what that tiny little bit did. It really changed it very quickly. Now, this might be just a little too bright of a green. I'm going to hold this up over here. It's too bright next to that. So to dull it down, I'm going to add more yellow orange. And that looks much more avocado-y. So there that is. That looks much better. Then it gets just a little darker, so I'm going to add some more. Now this is too much. This is grass green. But if I were being real abstract, this could certainly work. But you could see here, that is just too green, right? So I could make a new mix over here with a bunch of yellow orange, and this I could use. This looks much more muted, looks a lot better. So you can see I'm starting to get these colors of this avocado right there. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to experiment with your color mixes. And when I'm looking at these colors, I see that this is actually more white on there, which is okay. I'd probably add a streak of white over it. So you can try adding white to like this color, for instance. And look what you get with that. That is really pretty. Granted, this is more green than that, but I could see using this with this avocado painting. Maybe I'd add just a little bit more of maybe I'll add my regular yellow to this. Let's see what I get. So I've got Cad Yellow Light. I've got a regular yellow. This is basically Craft Smart Bright Yellow. And then I've got a yellow orange. So where did I put that? That's right here. Let's see what that looks like. So that's just a little slightly brighter shade, which is kind of cool. I mean, not cool literally, but you know, you want to have a variety of yellows and yellow greens and yellow oranges for your subject here. So that's that. I mean, I could have made my yellow green by using my ultramarine blue, so let's see what that looks like. Let's try our yellow with the tiny bit of ultramarine blue. It's very similar. You just, you know, it might take you a little bit longer to get there, but that's okay. This might be a good color for really close to the edge of the skin. It's just a little bit bluer and darker. So that's not bad. So this was made with ultramarine blue added. And you know, when we get to this outline, that is really super dark. So for that, I might actually make a black. So to make black, you would do alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue, like equal parts, and phthalo green. You mix these three together, you basically get black. I mean, it's not literally black, it's a very dark purple. But this would be our darkest dark. And you would use this sparingly, just in, I think when I did this painting, I put some of it on here, and I outlined, and in the darkest part of the shadow. So that's that. Let's put that there, and that really does look black next to those other colors. All right. To get this muted shadow, this is the shadow of the avocado hull or seed or whatever that thing is called. So that's going to be muted. And so to mute, so it is a warm light was used on this. So anytime you have a warm light, you're going to have a cool shadow. And there are two types of shadows. There are cast shadows like we have here, and then there are form shadows. So this is a form shadow. It's describing the shape, the hollowed out, that concave shape in there. So we're going to want that to be a cool shadow, a cool form there. And so then we're not going to use, even though it's yellow and we want to kind of mute that area, we're going to keep it towards the green. So I would probably use like something like this. I would mute it down just a tiny bit with probably a little more yellow orange. So let me see if I could come up with that shadow color for you. It might be this right here. Actually, yeah, that might be it. Maybe even with a tiny bit of ultramarine blue. So it's yellow, orange, and ultramarine blue. And you just got to play with it until you get just the right value. And that would be our shadow color. Maybe just a little bit lighter. You could try adding white to that to lighten it. Just depends on the color of your avocado. So here I just made it a little bit lighter. If I warm it up even more with alizarin, it starts to get too noticeable. So this is with, although that is a nice muted shade. You can see here I used a little bit of alizarin, so maybe just a little less alizarin would have been just right for this. So that actually does look pretty similar to that. So yeah, I mean, who would have thought there's a little bit of alizarin crimson in this avocado, but it is. It's a muted green. So that's how you get a muted green, is by using the complementary color, which is red. So, and then for the seed, to mix the seed color, to make a brown, I would start with an orange, you know, with like, here's our yellow orange and some alizarin, right? So you start by making orange. And this is a very nice accent color. Look how great that looks with that. I mean, if you want to have fun and just really get a nice pop of color, look how cute that looks on there. That orange just really pops. Just put it in a couple spots. Oh, that's so fun. Probably went a little too crazy with that. I could even put this on here. Anyway, but I digress. So you start with orange, and then what if we added some of this dark? What am I making again? The seed color. So you can see that that turned brown. You got to mix it thoroughly. And I do have a brown. Now brown, that's going to be a little bit boring. I don't know how realistic you want to make your painting. But I mean, on this one I put some alizarin crimson on top of the brown. So it's totally up to you. And then a nice accent color, again, is the orange on top of that brown. Would make a really interesting and dynamic set of colors on that seed or pod or whatever it is. So I think that's it for the really, you know how to do the darkest dark. That's it right there. Now that's a little bit, now that it's dried, it's very cool. So to make it warmer, you could put a glaze of a warmer color on top of it. And a glaze would just be thinning down another paint mixture. So to make it a little bit warmer, I guess I would use maybe alizarin crimson and yellow orange, and then add water to this. So this would be a watery glaze. I'm going to see if I can get this on top of the half of this. And it's probably really hard to pick up on camera, but that little glaze really warmed up that color quite a bit. And you could also, you want a warm color on top of your seed. So for this brown, I would do something like that on top of my seed to make this highlight area that you see there. And then of course the background is going to be, you know, these red violet or blue violet. And of course, to mix violets, you have a range of blue violet. So here's blue and white. Ultramarine blue with white makes a gorgeous blue violet, just, you know, straight up periwinkle, right? You could do your background with that. That would look great with these colors. Or you can make a red violet, the same thing, but just add the alizarin. And of course, you know, you could add more white, make it lighter. So there's a more of a red violet. If that's too bright for you, you could actually tone it down. You could add a little bit of like yellow to this. Here it is with yellow orange added to it, and it knocked it back just a little bit. I don't really like that color. It's kind of, I don't know, I don't really care for that color, but maybe you do, you know, maybe that's gonna look, maybe you want your avocados to pop more. Maybe you want to do all muted shades. Where's the one I did yesterday? I think I have some of that color in this background, you know. Or if you want to do a different blue, here's phthalo blue. That would make a difference. That would give you some different mixes. It wouldn't completely be a split complementary anymore, you know, but that's okay. As long as you get the understanding down of what a split complementary is, that's kind of the whole point of this lesson. So here's that mixed with white. And of course, that's a much different blue. You know, but that would look good. That looks great on here too. And if I wanted to knock that down, I could add yellow orange to that. Now that's another way of getting a green. Don't think I want that, but this isn't quite as avocado-y looking, I don't think. No. It's a totally different green. So I wouldn't use that for the background at all. Never mind that one. So anyway, that's it. I just wanted to give you the idea that you should do a little warm-up like this. Just practice mixing these colors, practice getting some different values, and maybe do one on paper. This is a great size to get. This is a 7 by 10. And I mean, I love this size. It's not too overwhelming. You can do a lot of fun little studies in here. And that's it, guys. See you on the lesson.